Hello there everybody, how's it going and how have you been? Welcome back to SpaceChem. In the last episode, we completed our first bonus mission and defeated our first boss, which was a runaway mining drone. And in doing so, we finished off all of the levels for the planet Danopth. And now, we're off to Alkonost to be introduced to our first, I'll call it an advanced concept, which is molecules, molecule sensing, atomic sensing, kind of the same thing. Sensing and recyclers. These little guys, these sort of concentric rings, kind of look like a bullseye sort of thing, they are called sensors. And what happens is that when you use the sense atom instruction, which behaves kind of like the control commands we used in the boss level, the sensor will check and see what is sitting over it. If the atom you specify is on top of the sensor, the Waldo will follow the direction the command points in. If there's nothing there or it's the wrong element, the Waldo will just ignore the command. We have, when you right-click one of these sense atom commands, we can actually change the trigger element to literally anything on the periodic table. But what is nice is that it will highlight whatever elements will be present in the reactor, so you don't really have to kind of find them in the table. They're already lit up and easier to spot. And the whole reason we're being given these sensors is because from now on, a good majority of the levels are going to have inputs that are mixed. So as you can see for this structure, we will be getting both oxygen gas and nitrogen gas out of this one machine. They will come out semi-randomly, but typically in the ratio specified. So for this particular pump, it would come out at a 3-to-1 ratio of oxygen to nitrogen. And then our final structure, which is just kind of an add-on, is some production levels have an extra structure called a recycler. This is where you can dump atoms or parts of molecules that you don't need. So whereas in the earlier production levels, basically everything we were given we had to use, now if there's something we don't need, say there's some kind of weird element attached to one of our molecules that is not on any of the cargo freighters, we can just go ahead and pop that off and send it down the tube into the recycler to just get rid of it. Now, we don't get to play with the recyclers. I'm pretty sure we're only going to see them in production levels anyway. And this stage is just to get our feet wet when it comes to using the atomic sensor. So, in this case, our alpha input has a 50-50 split of neon and argon. And we have no idea of which one is coming next. Could be an atom of neon, could be an atom of argon. You got no way of knowing. So, just like always, however, we have to start by calling it in, and then we grab onto it. I'm going to nudge the sensor down one layer. I don't have to, but this will just make the resulting solution look a little bit nicer, I guess. I want him to come down and around, and now we put down our little sensor command, and as you can see, both neon and argon are the white and the black for their periodic table thing entry is flipped, so we can very easily pick it out. I'm going to say react to argon, and I want you to point down. So now if red is holding on to an argon, he will change course and go down this way to drop it off and send it out. And the only other possibility is if he's holding onto a neon, in which case he will put it down inside and send it out. Do I want blue to help with this? Nah, in the interest of showing how the sensors really work, I'm going to let blue just kind of have the day off right now. So, as we have every other time before, red calls in the input, and yep, he checked. It's an argon, so he comes down here to put it down and send it back out. Now, what's going to be next? Is it going to be another argon, or is it going to be a neon? We've got another argon, and I'll go ahead and put it up to speed 2, and a third argon. There's the neon, and see, the sensor did not register it as an argon, so he just kept going. One thing I do want to specify is that you don't have to put these sensor commands on top of the sensor. They work very much like a bond command. You can activate it anywhere you want in the reactor, and the sensor will check whatever is over top of it and give an appropriate signal to the Waldo. So, say we have a big molecule, but one atom is different in it. Let's say, I can't even think of a really good example. But to distinguish between the atom, or not the atoms, to distinguish between the molecules, we could have our Waldo grab onto one end and then drag the appropriate spot over the sensor and just place our sense command accordingly to react. It's dawning on me that that was not a really good explanation. Don't worry about it. I'll probably be able to show it off in another level or two. That did not sound nearly as complex as it did in my head. Prelude to a mic ring. A little bit of story. Go ahead and read it if you want. And... alright, next level. Okay. So, for this level, we are being given oxygen gas and atoms of oxygen. And our goal now is to only deliver atoms of oxygen. So basically, the single atoms have to keep going. The gas has to be broken apart. And I think I can actually use this to show off what I was talking about, or trying to talk about at the very least. Same old startup deal, but let's put the sense command here. And of course change it to oxygen because that's the only atom that's ever going to be present in the reactor. So, yeah, I want red to grab on this tile because between the two inputs, that's the only spot where there is always going to be something for him to pick up. And by putting the sensor command over here, because I know he's always going to have his mitts on an oxygen atom, because that's the only thing he could possibly grab, this way it will check and see if there is an extra oxygen attached to the one he's holding on to. And if there is, he will travel down here to break the bonds apart. If there is not, he can just keep going and... there we go. That's not the... there we go. And just drop the lone atom out. Now... I don't want to lay all the bonders in a row. Actually, I can. Yeah, I can put the bonders in a row. I was about to say I don't want to because once the last bond is severed, red is just gonna smash his oxygen into the loose one. But if I do this, Actually, let's just have him join up with his old track, just to save some space. Yeah, if I do this, he won't collide with the other oxygen. And even nicer is this gives me an extra spot to put down a sink that he can use to turn blue on. But, again, misplacing an arrow. I'm betting you guys right now, every single episode of this I do, I'm going to misplace at least one arrow at some point every episode. So anyway, blue will have to grab the spare oxygen atom, put it down in the output zone, and then send it out. And yeah, this should work as well. So let's see. So we start with the gas, and as you saw, red figured out that there was an extra atom attached, so he went down here to break the bonds away. And by turning on blue, blue took care of the extra atom so that this place is always clean for whenever an oxygen gas molecule comes in. And if it will ever show up, yep, when there's just a lone atom of oxygen, the sensor registers that and tells red to just go straight to the output. Perfect. How about speed 4? There we go. Nice and fast. Wow, I wonder how low the scores are that are like really close to 0. Like, could you have possibly beaten this level in less than 100 cycles? Maybe. Random oxides. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. Big step up in difficulty now that the game's confident. We know how to use its sensor. Okay, how do I want to go about doing this? We are obviously going to need the sensor to distinguish between the zinc and the titanium. The thing is, we need to both check the atoms to know where to put each molecule, but the problem I'm seeing right now is that zinc only wants one oxygen atom, while titanium wants 2. So I'm also going to have to check and see if it's titanium or not, and if it is, come back around for a fresh oxygen atom. Actually, can I do both checks at once? Like, if it is titanium, can I come up here to get another oxygen and then go straight to the output? Maybe I can. I'm getting an idea. Yeah, I've got an idea. I'm sure you guys are looking at where I've put the bonders and are wondering what in the world I'm thinking. But just follow me for a second. So red calls in the oxygen and grabs it. Then I need to call in whichever atom is going to come out of beta. Put the oxygen down. Make the double bond, because, yeah, no matter what, the metals are going to want a double bond to the oxygens. And then grab a hold of the metal atom. At least I'm pretty sure zinc's some metal. Yeah. Alright, and then as for the sensor, I want you to say if you've got your mitts on zinc, if I can actually hit the button, there we go. I want you to just go right ahead and deliver it. Otherwise, go up here, put the molecule down, because I want blue to handle the extra oxygen from the titanium dioxide. Turn on blue and then wait. Alright. So now, blue. You're turned on, which will only happen if a titanium comes in. Go ahead and grab onto it, bring it back up here to where the oxygens come from. Put it down. Actually, no, let's leave this as a grab drop. I will put the alpha input command there. And then attach the second oxygen. Pick the whole thing back up. Drop it off in psi. And you know what, you can go ahead and turn red back on pretty early on because you're not going to get in each other's way at that point. Okay. Complicated looking level. Kind of complicated looking solution. Let's hope it works. Right, we get the oxygen. It's a... Oop. Okay. There we go. Alright, let that be a lesson. Double check your grab drop commands before you try running it. Let me just make sure. Drop, drop, drop and grab. Okay, yeah, all the others look fine. See if I can stop making that silly little mistake. Alright, so we start with the titanium, which is handled just fine. Wonderful. We get another titanium, so I'm just going to go ahead and speed this part up. A third titanium. That is something about this game is... Oop, hang on. And... Alright, it works the zinc just fine. Anyway. That is something about the randomness in this game, is that it definitely is not truly random. There's a pattern to any ratio that the game can have. But even so, that pattern is... It's essentially random, so you really can't know ahead of time what the sequence is and design your solution to do that. It's much better and a lot more sane to design the solution as though it were random. Alright, oh, production levels already. Only about 20 minutes in. I'm really cruising through Alkonost. Yeah, you know what, let's do this level. Or at least check this level. And see what the time is like afterwards. We get more story. With the picture of a guy banging his head against his desk. Okay, I'm just gonna go right on ahead. Okay. Alright, we've got just a basic little atmospheric pump. It's sucking nitrogen and oxygen out of Alkonost's atmosphere. We've got our cargo freighter that wants nitric oxide. And finally, we've got that new recycler structure. So basically anything I throw into these tanks, or into any of these inputs for this guy, are basically just discarded. This is just like a giant recycling bin, basically. Okay. Oh, and we have ourselves our new reactor type, denoted by the green stripe in the center as opposed to the yellow stripe on the normal guys. This is a sensor reactor, and inside it has our little sensor. So, pretty straightforward when it comes to the pipe. There we go. Now then, do I need to use the recycler at all? Maybe. The problem is that we're going to be getting 3 oxygen gas for every 1 nitrogen gas. And so it's a 3-to-1 ratio versus a 1-to-1 ratio that the output molecule wants. So I've got an idea for a solution, but it's going to run almost laughably slow. The idea would be basically discard whatever comes in until I get a nitrogen gas. Throw away half of it and put the nitrogen on a set of bonders. And then throw away nitrogen gas until I get an oxygen gas. Throw half of that molecule away, connect the oxygen to the nitrogen, and then deliver. And while I'm pretty sure I could get that to work, depending on how the game decides to order the molecules, that could take a really long time to get both halves. It feels so wasteful, too. It is giving me 3 reactors, though, so maybe I could use a second one to help alleviate the pain? Or alleviate the workload and make things a little bit smarter? The other thing is I really don't want to throw away both nitrogens just because they're going to be showing up so much less frequently than the oxygen. So you know what? I'm really not sure how to do this. I think using another reactor is probably the way to go. But considering how close we were to the time limit already, and how I've basically just spent pretty much 5 minutes just staring at this level and thinking, I think we're just gonna go ahead and save what's left of this level for the start of the next episode. I will try to think about it a little bit off camera and see if I can't come up with some design that I can start putting together right off the bat. Sorry if that's a bit of an anticlimactic way to end the episode, but I get the feeling that sometimes that's just going to have to be what happens. But regardless, we were introduced to our next, or basically our first advanced tool, which is the atomic sensor, and learned how to use it. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, because this is one of my favorite games. I love playing it. I love trying to figure out the puzzles. And who knows, maybe I'm encouraging a couple of you guys to get it for yourself and try it out and see if you can come up with your own solutions. Before I start babbling and rambling, because I'm feeling oddly tired, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all had a great time, and I hope you all have a great day. In the next episode, I promise we will finish this production level, and probably the next one as well, maybe the bonus level if we get a bit of extra time. So, I will see you all in the next episode. Farewell for now.